Wake up, buy here, pay here people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhoads on the Buy Here, Pay Here Morning Show. Take it away, you two.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Good morning.
Happy
Wednesday.
Welcome to a White Hat Wednesday episode. You're joining us in our studio in North Ogden, Utah. Yep. It's supposed to be 60 degrees today.
Because we always start with the weather.
It's nice.
Because that's just what we do.
You can see out the window. It's a little cloudy, but it's going to be a nice
Today
day.
is Wednesday, which is, we were talking with Karen, who's going to be on the show backstage. And Wednesdays are my mom day. And so after we do the morning show, I have a couple of things that I need to get taken care of for work and chores. And then I go and get to spend the day with mom. And it's, we've got Costco runs and all sorts of stuff. But Wednesdays are a fun day for me because I get to hang out with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she's gone all afternoon, and I have free realm of the refrigerator.
And I did do some cooking yesterday, so the refrigerator is full of good food that Jim can choose from. So
it's supposed to last past this afternoon, though. I think. So.
I think that it will. Yeah. I think that it absolutely will. So
So we got just a quick announcement. We have we expect Amanda Butler Sanchez and Hugo Sanchez on Friday. We're going to talk about RFCs. We're going to talk about if I don't have one, should I get one in a hurry? And
also some things just about RFCs if you already have one, stuff that you
some
just
end of the
need to
year things to be contemplating as you head toward the close of the fiscal period. Yep,
it'll be a good one. What else?
Nothing for me. They're wrapping up.
It's like almost the holiday. So it's like everything's kind of wrapping up, close of the year. Isn't it kind of funny how, and I know Jim, whenever we talk about, hey, we want to accomplish this, one of the first things that he says is like, if it doesn't happen before Thanksgiving, it won't happen until January.
Yeah.
And I think that that's true in a lot of ways. I think that there are businesses that continue working, but
it's me.
If you've got
I'm gonna stop. I'll be eating pumpkin pie till January 1st.
That's true. Oh, I need to get a puzzle.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start putting a puzzle together between Thanksgiving and Christmas. That's like a thing.
By the way, it's a joke. We'll have plenty of work to do leading into the close of the year. In fact,
will.
I'm trying to put together an event for December, and so I would invite our folks out there that are in the BHPH boardroom group and the BHPH success group. Find the poll that I put out there and give me some feedback on what time of day would work best for you as a dealer. Would you rather evenings, weekends?
It's been interesting because we're always trying to do just short content, what's a couple of hours, hour and a half that in the evening, because thinking, okay, that's probably going to be easier. We can get good quality eyes on the thing. And it's been interesting that most of everybody, it's like middle of the day. Can we do it in the middle of the day?
Sure.
And so, all right.
Okay. Very good. Shall we bring in our guests and get to our Wednesday topic?
We should. So, Kane Barnett, thank you so much for joining us. I love you and appreciate
back at you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Karen, a couple of weeks ago, Karen was officially named WHW Ambassador. And just so you all know, because we've had a couple of some confusing correspondence from people just through social media. This is not a paid gig.
Yeah, she's not going to be happy with her bonus plan. Yeah, it doesn't.
It's not a paid gig.
Yeah.
But it's and there's a lot of reasons why we were like, this makes sense. And can I just let me? I'll tell you. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Okay,
please, Michelle, please.
Is that Karen is like always sending people our way to the podcasts, to the whatever, because it's like, oh, if you need to learn about this, if you want some help about this, if this is this is where you need to go. This is the thing, and there's it. We have like in the backstage kind of conversation with Karen after we've done a White Hat Wednesday or released something about White Hat Way, and she just is like this is awesome. This is needed. This is for whatever it is, and has just been really an advocate, an ambassador for what it is that we're trying to do. And we just really, really are grateful, very grateful for that.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Jim and Michelle. I appreciate that. And I I've joked about it, but I'm serious. When I started watching you and before I met you, the message that you're sending, the transparency, the trust, caring about the success of your customer. I joked that my neck was going to be sore because I'm like this. I'm watching
Nod your head, yeah.
I'm watching your show. And so I've sent a joke before that my neck hurts because the message is, it really rings true for
who you are and why that matters.
Yeah.
So Karen, talk to us a little bit about what it is that you do. And without plugging.
Yeah,
but it's like, definitely what it is that you do and why you see it matters.
So 30 years I've been in consumer finance under AFSA, but for the last 10 years with two different companies, I've been with two different companies. I've just been focused on buy here, pay here, and capital needs. That's it. So not floor plans, but different capital programs. Okay. So besides that, I've learned not every program is right for everyone. Not every company is right for everyone, but the way that you are successful in this business, the people that I've seen that have been around may just follow the rules of honesty and transparency and communicating with the customers. You see in this business, the second and third generation dealerships, and there's a lot of first generation dealerships that have just repeat after repeat after repeat customers. So this kind of business, being after that repeat customer, that repeat customer has got to get there some way. And it's usually because they've, I believe, felt successful in some way.
Yeah, good. Mm-hmm. So I think one of the things that, obviously with your experience, you work with enough dealers and you get to see the difference between success and failure. Sometimes you get to see the difference in atmosphere. You've been in lots of dealerships and you get a feel for the culture and the atmosphere and kind of the whole nature of their customer relations approach and all those kind of things. So I'm sure you see in the same way that we see as coaches kind of what happens out there. And of course, as a former dealer myself, I've been in it, and I look forward, Karen. I think, people ask, what is White Hat Way like? And we're going to show kind of what we think it's going to look like in 10 years. But I think, when people talk about what is White Hat Way, for us, it's really it's a cause. It's like a mission. It's like, and it's not about Jim and Michelle. Like we recently started to refer to ourselves as spokespeople. And so that's really just because we're creating something that we think will outlive us. It can have a positive impact, on this industry and beyond. So we just think it's a chance to start to separate. And I look forward to the day, Karen. I know that it can happen, that all those things you just talked about, imagine when we can measure that, when we can say, a white hat dealer is more successful, their charge-off rates are lower, their repo rates are lower.
Right.
And be able to say the same thing for the consumer. When you have a white hat dealer and a white hat consumer, then the success rate is, X points higher than that even, and so it's like, I look forward to that day. That's what White Hat Way can look like. And Michelle and I are very much on that mission to get to the place where we can show that it matters. It's one thing to get on here and talk about it on a podcast and say, let's feel good about ourselves and let's do the right thing. Is it really better for business? We expect to be able to prove that. Okay. So that's kind of the part that we're looking forward to doing. You want to go ahead and show the thing? So maybe we should explain this first. Yeah.
We just, as a disclaimer, before when we knew we were going to be doing this, we reached out to our two founding sponsors so far, because our two founding sponsors so far, which are talked about in this thing, and said, "Are you guys okay? with us sharing this, your image and the thing, and they're like, "Are you serious? Go for it.
Yeah.
Do it. Yes, please."
So Michelle, if you would read it, just so what we're going to see on the screen here is something
right,
that I wrote on a private, unpublished Facebook page. It's going to be too
I'm
small
going
to
to
read.
take this right here, and then I'm
Okay.
going to do this. Okay.
So again,
So
let's preface it. This is something I wrote on September 3rd of this year, as though it were 10 years in the future. So so go ahead.
As Michelle and I prepare for the upcoming 2033 White Hat Dealer Roundup, we wanted to take a moment to reflect on the 10 years since founding sponsors LHPH Capital and Dealer RE joined the effort in a public way. So many amazing things have transpired since the White Hat companies pledged support of our grand mission. Now, a decade later, White Hat Way has been responsible for launching 127 dealerships, issuing over 3,000 White Hat diplomas to consumers, providing scholarships to more than 800 deserving individuals, and growing the White Hat online community to more than 8,000 subscribers. More significantly, White Hat certified consumers saved approximately $200,000 in interest last month alone. This was one of the biggest parts of our motivation way back in its inception. Now, thanks in part to the early support and shared commitment of LHPH Capital and Dealer RE, the original vision is a growing reality. From all of us at White Hat Way, we appreciate and honor your unwavering support. The image below is a live broadcast of the 200th episode of the Buy Here Pay Here Morning Show, and we announced our two White Hat founding sponsors. Okay.
So this was
Wow.
something I was inspired to write one morning, and I got to get control of some emotion here, but it's basically following a practice of Cameron Herald, who
Vivid
is
vision.
the vivid visioning. And so it's something that we work with our clients to do to help them create a vision. And Cameron Herald's way of doing that, and he talks more about a 3-year vision, and certainly we have our 1 and 3 year vision, but I think what's important to understand about that, where that really came about, is it's about making it real, like jumping ahead. What's it going to feel like to be in that place? So, I threw numbers in there to make it feel more real. But it's like thinking ahead. This is the vision that Michelle and I have for White Hat Way. So when people start to ask, what is it? Well, more recently I've begun to express it as it's a nucleus. It's the core of everything that we believe and teach. And so all the services and solutions that we'll be able to provide around White Hat Way will all have that at their core. All the people who are drawn to these solutions are going to have that common theme, that common core, as part of what they do. So this is why I think that the 10-year thing was just kind of, let's understand what this can look like.
There's a lot of pieces. And so as you're we're talking about interest saved and all of that, there are pieces within our structure of what we're building that create that create abilities for consumers to win in a really big way, and buy here, pay here dealers, or at least here, pay here dealers, or dealers or businesses in general to win in a big way with having that kind of relationship with their consumer.
Yeah. And so in trying to express it, Karen, one of the ways that I recently started to talk about this, and we'll eventually engage some marketing people who can help us create.
We have some.
Yeah, create all of the messaging and marketing around, White Hat Way. But I think one of the ways that if I had to choose today, the tagline for White Hat Way, it would be this right here. I'm going to put it on the screen. Earning the trust of our neighbors by doing the right thing. Okay.
Love it.
But the simplest, most efficient way that I've come up with to say it, which is if you want to understand what White Hat Way stands for, and you read that and you say, oh, well, that really could extend to something beyond buy here, pay here, right? I mean, but we're starting in buy here, pay here because that's the industry we all, enjoy and love. And so we're starting there, but really in reality, this is just about earning the trust of our neighbors. And how do we do that? By walking the talk, by doing the right thing day after day after day.
So Karen, we read that thing. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, and it's not just, I think, for the person that thinks it's giving into the customer every time. That's not what it's about. It's about honesty, transparency, communication. Here are effective tools of consistency that will help build trust with your customer. And from there, that builds longer relationships and referrals. So
I'm glad.
it's kind of like what I do. Most of the business that I get from is usually from referrals.
Yeah, of course. That makes sense. Just because you're treating people right and hustling to get them taken care of. And I think, I'm glad you brought up the customer side because, yes, you're right. The customer has responsibility here too.
Yeah.
Like, this is a two-way relationship for sure. And so the customer's got to step up and do their part. And so I think that's a part of what we expect to be able to do. But one of the things it does, we can drive better communication when we trust one another.
Right.
So that's why I say, when you think about dealers that and you can pick one, think about somebody in your head. Don't say who it is. Just think about a dealer that you know. And then think about, if they genuinely care about their consumers, and many of them do, they genuinely care about the success of the customers they serve. And now ask yourself, what would it be worth to them as a dealer if White Hat Way were able to play a role in developing trust between them as a dealer and the members of their community? What would that be worth to them? And so this is kind of where I think this is a problem that we know White Hat Way can help to solve. There are opportunities around dispute resolution and all these kind of things where you've got this, White Hat party sitting over on the side. And what it represents is something that is about the ultimate success of this relationship, right?
And I think that we talk with White Hat Way. One of the reasons why we created that is because, we felt like there was a disconnect between a dealer and consumer, that it's just
I use the word friction.
and a friction. And I wouldn't say that friction comes from lack of caring always, because you can care about someone, but that friction happens because we're not putting into practice that caring. We're not finding actionable steps to show care that actually help a consumer become more successful. And that doesn't mean being a pushover.
Right.
But that means, how do we help them give them the hand up to become more successful in their relationship with us and potentially others because of the things they learned through working with us.
Yeah. And as you know, Karen, one of the things we teach, and I don't want to get too far off in the weeds, but one of the things we teach with training collectors and all those kind of things is sometimes we don't say this out loud to the customer, but sometimes one of the ways we help the customer is by saying no,
Right. Absolutely.
Right. And so we have
Absolutely.
to, we can't just say yes to everything that they request. And we have to, sometimes it's about keeping them on track and keeping them from digging a deeper hole than they're in already. And so that's about genuine caring and thinking ahead. And so what we call the 10-year approach, like we're make sure we're successful.
Well,
10 years from now.
even when you say no, I'm put up the 10-year approach. It's like, no, but here's what we can do.
Right.
And so the answer to that is no, we can't do, that's not something we're going to do, but here's what we can do. And, finding ways to help them succeed. And it isn't like, it's not about being a pushover. It's about offering options. And
that's the nature of trust. You just got to, it takes both sides. You got to both be willing to communicate and give, when it's appropriate. So there's a lot there. But I think, when I just look at White Hat Way, I mean, we're thrilled, by the way, to have you join us as an ambassador and be a voice.
Thank you.
White Hat. It's just about, helping people understand what is it and why should it matter to me as a dealer.
Right.
And so when I think about that, we talked more recently about, if I'm a dealer, I say, I get it, Jim. It's cool. I think doing the right thing is cool. But like, how is that going to affect me? Like, if I'm some small dealer in Alabama, how does that affect me today?
And so that was a part of our conversation last night, is like, what is the I guess you'd say kind of like the ROI in a way, of living White Hat Way practices, and or moving forward in your business with White Hat Way practices. And Yes, we really believe there are $ ROIs that's associated with it, but there's a lot of other ROI that is intangible.
Won't show up on the
It
financial
won't
statement.
show up. It won't show up on the financial statement this year, but it certainly may 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But even if those numbers stay the same, that idea that we know we're trusted in our community, we bump into people at the grocery store. It's a beautiful experience. It's like we sleep well at night as a dealer, knowing that we're doing the best we can by the folks in our neighborhood. And so those are all pieces that we also know can happen. But I would say one of the things I would just say, if I'm that dealer, who's saying, well, I don't understand how this helps me now. Like, how can this help me today? I would just say, I would urge dealers, just make sure to stay plugged into what we're doing. Go to whitehatway.com, send in your thing. You can volunteer there to play a role. You can say, keep me informed, and we'll keep you up to date with the developments with White Hat Way. So near term, that's what I would say dealers can
We
do.
asked Karen.
Slow down and listen. Slow down and listen.
Good.
Thank you. We asked Karen before we got started. It's like, okay, so we were talking, Jim and I were talking this morning, because we always do every morning coffee time. We talk about what are we going to be speaking, what's the topic? And that one of the things that we were like, so what is a benefit? What are the reasons why I should? And so we kind of talked about that a little bit with Karen, and I just wanted you to, what do you see as the benefits and like the reason why to start today?
I just think of it kind of as a water wheel that just keeps moving, and just the whole nature of buy here, pay here centers around, should be, the repeat business of it. And so that repeat business is success of customers. And the longevity of business is hopefully in doing the right thing and not getting in over their heads. So it's just doing the right thing. And it just seems to be like the only way it should be done. But honesty, transparency, everything that it's about is, to me, the essence of a successful long-term buy here, pay here dealer.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. So I think the thing about you said is just doing the right thing. Like, there are dealers out there, you can ask them. You think about anybody that you could just ask them. And I often do on the morning show. I'll just say, look, do you care? You don't have to answer out loud for me, but to yourself, answer, do you care about the success of your customer? Because we know there are dealers on both sides of that answer, right? And
Right.
so but if the answer is yes, I do care about the success of my customer. I want to have a good, healthy business. Of course, I want to be profitable and successful, but I also want my customer to be successful, and I want my business to be viewed as an asset to my community. If the answer is yes to that, then I just join us. Just get in touch with us, and let's keep you informed about what we're doing. And it's funny, Karen, in our travels with White Hat Way, we have family members say, your podcast is interesting, but I don't see how you monetize it, right? How do you make money? Like, so it's funny for us. It's like
because we're playing a 10-year approach.
Right. The really long game.
Yeah, there are. And there are also naysayers. Like, there are people that we encounter in the industry that are kind of scoff at the thing, and they want to step in. I think we're asking people, do you want to join us in doing the right thing? Do you want to be public about saying, I want to do the right thing by my consumers?
This core value set, and like forward with this thing, and giving it a name, and giving it a purpose, and giving it like some traction and some actionable things and an identity. And it's like, that's what we're creating. That's what we're creating.
So currently, Karen, I'm in this place where the naysayers, they just help me channel my energy. They just help me,
So it's, oh my gosh. And this is since I joined the company, we've had different conversations. And when we hear someone say, you can't do that, it's like,
yeah.
And then we'll go and we'll brainstorm. Okay. Yeah.
And you've still
watched us do it.
been on 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And White Hat Way is every Wednesday.
Yeah.
So I'd absolutely encourage somebody to go back and listen going forward, because you're not paying for this. And it's a great message of longevity that is exactly for our industry.
There's a YouTube playlist called White Hat Wednesday. So they can go to our YouTube channel right there on the screen. They can find the White Hat Wednesday playlist. And I think we're like 72 or 3 episodes in there now. So there's a ton of stuff around. And it's not just us. We're bringing other people who are white hat operators and vendors in the space and so on. So it's not just us talking about the thing. But I would just say that, I guess my main point about the naysayers is that, my 10-year vision is pretty clear. I don't, on any given day, you might step sideways instead of forward, but it's like my vision is, very well set. It's in focus for, well out in the future. And we expect people are going to continue. They're a little uncomfortable. They're a little uncertain. What are Jim and Michelle doing? Can we really trust them?
And it's like, you're not going to be able to do this. You can't do this. It's like, that's the thing is that,
right.
that we can, and we are.
Yeah, right.
And
I don't want to go back to capital, but I hear all the time, well, you can't do that, or I couldn't. I'm like, well, sure, it has worked.
Yeah.
And I think for us, it's just about, I feel like as we move forward and people start to rally around this concept, it's a simple concept. We're going to do the right thing by our neighbors. I think as we continue to promote that and be spokespeople for that concept, I think people will naturally fall in line. There are tons of people that we know that want to do the right thing by
a
vendor working with a dealer, or dealer working with a consumer, even consumers eventually who want to have a good experience, in their role. It's like, all we're doing is just rallying people around that idea that we want to do the right thing. We want to reduce the amount of friction between dealers and consumers. And so it's inevitable, Karen. People are going to rally around that mission. And that mission is going to be around long after Michelle and I are gone.
It's happening.
Just,
and
right.
It may not be on people's radar right now. And they're, we watch Simon Sinek. There's like this bell curve thing, and you have the early adopters, the ones who are stepping in, and it's like, then it like starts to get traction, and then boom, and it does the thing. We are past early adopters. And it's starting to get some traction, and it's very, very, it just makes me so dang happy. It makes me so dang happy. I wanted to.
Me too. Just remember, this is my happy. This is what I look like when I'm
we right now, one of my children live here with us, and we were after dinner, we were just kind of having this conversation, kind of running through some of the things that we really that we can see being the result of this practice, like when a dealer really steps in. And I love the we were kind of tied in. Candace Price, I don't know if you remember when we had Candace Price on the show. She's the dealer from Nebraska, and she in her program, right?
Fantastic.
Like, okay, you want to, love it.
Next level. I mean,
she's lived
education ways that we have furthered education. I mean, just fantastic.
So imagine, and I was trying to describe to my kid that, it's not this push up, I'm going to force you, but it's like this hand up of like, hey, if you step in with me, that and we can see eye to eye, and we can start to move together as a team in this, that we can help you be able to accomplish other things. And like that other thing of being able to be a homeowner. Imagine if our customers who are on this, you talk about the water wheel. This is a different water wheel they're on. This is a water wheel of getting beaten down by, higher interest rates, higher payments, a lot of the different things. But imagine if dealers and consumers can join together and create a better experience for the consumer overall.
Right.
And become a homeowner, and be able to get themselves off of that water wheel. And that's like one of the things that it's like, this is really when you go 10 years and people really living this, that is one of the realities that will be happening, that, people will be able to improve, and dealers can shuck and jive and move along with them if they want to. And
Right. And I think you said once, what is it, teaching or leading with a carrot instead of a stick?
Yeah.
So I think of that too.
Yeah.
And it's that's where I just said it always sticks. I love visuals, the trajectory, the success of the customer,
Good.
and how good that makes us look as an industry too.
Good.
It gave me a lot of hope for this to work when we were talking to Seth Merrifield on was it last week? The week before?
Maybe
when we were talking about lowering interest rates, and one of the things that he said, and it's just like I stuck on that, just like it was like a magnet, when he said when there was free money, his delinquency went down. It didn't maintain, it didn't grow. His delinquency went down because people were making their payments more. And so it's like, all right, I think that there's a lot of people out there that just need a hand up. That's all they need. And then they're going to start to get on a different water wheel and start to create success in their lives. And you know what? We have an opportunity to be able to help that happen.
I think the thing you're talking about with Seth and the income thing is, like, I think the reality is we know that consumers in this segment struggle. They're amongst the lower income in our communities, and they're paycheck to paycheck, and they're struggling to get the payments in. And so I think what that lesson was, and during COVID, when they had surplus money, they made their payment. It's not that they wouldn't make their payment if they had the money. They're just struggling a lot of times with the money. But back to what you said about the carrot thing, Karen, I think that's among the things that White Hat Way can do, is be a voice of the reward side of human behavior. And let's start to implement some of the reward elements in our collections approaches, and make sure that we, because if we're strictly punitive, that's a pretty frustrating relationship.
I think that part of the thing that
I'm so sorry. Yeah. Getting the customer in the right car too. Cause we're talking about the payments and the term. Saying no is the right thing in many cases. So,
and I think that where I was coming from that whole thing with during COVID and all of that is that given the choice, a consumer given the choice chooses to pay their bills. Yeah. And that there's a lot more of them out there that given the choice, they will pay their bills.
Absolutely.
So we need to help them get in a position where they can pay their bills.
Yeah. Give them tools and ways to get there. So I think that's good. There's plenty. Karen, we look forward to having you back. We're going to continue kind of a series of truth about trust.
Thank you.
Like, this truth about trust thing is something that I think if I can say that White Hat Way stands for any one thing, it's going to be trust, and maybe next is integrity. It's like what does it look like to be trusted in your community, as in this case a buy here pay here dealer? And we feel like we can help dealers make that connection, how to learn how to communicate, how to tell their story and connect with folks in their community. And we just know White Hat Way can be part of that. So we're glad to have you be part of add your voice to what White Hat Way is and how it can make a difference.
Very much a pleasure. Please slow down and listen, and go back and listen. I know it's, I don't want to say the wrong thing here, but I used to joke about, I know it's not a feel good thing, but it really does make me feel good to listen and to learn from you guys. So thank you so much.
Oh, good. Thank you. That's
thank
kind
you,
of you.
Karen.
Stick
around. Yeah. We'll say a proper goodbye after we've dropped the broadcast. Thank you again. Appreciate it. All righty. Great conversation.
Stuff. I mean, that's why one of the reasons we brought her in as an ambassador, because she gets it. She understands and she lives it. She's out there talking to dealers all the time, and she knows where the gaps are, where the challenges are, and this friction that we talked about. She gets it. So we're glad to have Karen be a voice.
Absolutely.
So, glad she could join us.
Happy Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you so much for joining us today on the morning show. It's our White Hat Wednesday, and we will see you on Friday again.
We're talking RFCs.
Yep.